Hello there. So I thought I thought I'd do a quick video because I'm going to a tournament this weekend. So these are all the people who are also going. There's 28 of us. It's been full. It's full up because I said 24 places. Now there's actually 28. So that's pretty good. There's already been a list lock, which is fine. I was just checking my list because I forgot what law I gave to my prints. I'm still assembling some models. It's Friday, so I've got a model to paint and a model to build and paint. So I'm doing all right for that. We've got 2,000 points, 3 games. Everything's fine. Says models do not have to be painted, which is quite nice, but all of mine is, and it will be the those Team Scorpions are a bit scratty, but anyway, it will be the first time I've actually no, it's not the first time I've used Team Kings. I've used Team Kings once before in a 1500 friendly at the local club, so and that went okay, but I've changed the list a bit since then, mainly because I'm now including a dragon, so because I think you kind of have to. So there's a few players like Andy Lamb, whose name comes up in the. So what are my realistic expectations? Well, as we already know from the meta, you get Tomb Kings would be expected. A Tomb King player would be expected to win 1 or 2 games out of a 3-game tournament. So, that's, as is pretty much everybody, to be honest, apart from Skaven, which is 0 to 1, I think, actually, off the top of my head. So, obviously, I'd like 1 or 2 wins. Obviously, it'd be brilliant if I could do 3. So, I thought I'd do a quick thing where, well, let's talk about my list first, because that's the one that I know about, and what my intentions are with the army. In fact, it's easier if I just click on roster and then go here and then click on that. Right, so I've got a Tomb King, Necrolith, Bone Dragon, Armour of Ages, Talisman of Protection. The point of that really is to just stuff that into the enemy's face, viz. If, for instance, there's a Chaos Dragon, I can shove that in the Chaos Dragon's face, and I'm reasonably confident that they'll just basically sit there slogging each other's guts all game and no points. So it's basically 439 points is a lot of points, but it's there to essentially nullify my opponent's big monster thing. It does do a decent amount of armor damage because it's got all the stomps, it's got quite high strength, it's got a decent amount of attacks. I've given the Tomb King a great weapon to give her some it is Tomb Queen Khalida. I don't know whether you can see that. I put a bit of effort into painting her, to be honest. Not a dragon, but her. So yeah, I did want to give her the Amulet of the Serpent as well to give her poisoned attacks, because that would be super characterful. But I've moved the Amulet of the Serpent around. Anyway, the Armour of the Ages means you got to reroll wound rolls against her, and she's toughness 6, so that's going to make it quite difficult to wound her. She has, because of the Bone Dragon, got a 4-up armour save, which isn't great, but then the Talisman of Protection gives her a 5-up ward, and then her own regen gives her a 5-up regen. So she's pretty good at she's pretty survivable, given there's not a lot that you can do with Tomb Kings to get their armour up, though, which I think is why their dragons are so cheap. But because she's got the fly keyword, that means she can march. So that's fine. Then we've got the High Priest, which is on foot. Should be a level 4 wizard. Why does it say maybe a level 4 wizard? Yeah, I have clicked on it. Okay, whatever. So level 4 wizard. Weird wording. The Hieratic Jar allows me to cast Arise! Twice. Arise is basically bring stuff back from the dead. It's your wizard's level plus D3 for infantry. It's your wizard's level plus 1 for cavalry. It's your wizard's level, I think, for monstrous infantry and monstrous cav, and then it's just a single wound for monsters. So yeah, the High Priest has several jobs. I've given it Necromancy because Necromancy's got a ton of like really good debuff type spells, including the big sort of signature. Not signature, including the big. It's not a signature spell, but including the big. Mortar template things, -1 leadership, can't use inspiring presence, and also if you put it in front of a unit that your opponent needs to charge next turn, they've got to take a dangerous terrain check to get everybody over it. So, because it becomes dangerous terrain. So, clever placement of that will make it very, very difficult for my opponent because it's a big 5-inch, dangerous terrain block. Horrible. So, imagine they're charging in with like 5. Like a unit of, I don't know, like 10 chosen, they might just lose 2 to the dangerous terrain check, which is pretty nasty. Then I've got, so the Hieratic Jar allows me to, once per game, cast Arise twice. So that means in one turn I can possibly get 8 plus 2d3 skeletons back in one turn. I've then got a Royal Herald, which is a BSB. That's probably also going to be loitering behind the big block of skeletons that I've got. And essentially what that allows you to do is reroll leadership tests. Arise is a leadership test, so it's important that you get the reroll on that. It also reduces the number of wounds lost to combat res by D3, which is pretty good. So if somebody beats so essentially I might put it in the unit of skeletons as well. I'm still not 100% which way yet. There is a unit champion, so I can always challenge people out with a unit champion, and then I've got the Necrotect, so it's not going to be easy to get to it really. But anyway, because the unit champion you can bring back with a rise, whereas the other characters you can't if they're in a unit. So champion goes down first. Well, anyway, whatever. So the point would be that I've got a banner on the unit of skeleton warriors. I gave them the war banner, so they've got +1. So they've got +2 to combat res to begin with. They've got probably 3 ranks, I'd imagine, unless somebody's killed quite a lot of them. So they might only have 2 ranks by the time we're talking about combat. Yeah, so if somebody's killed like 10 of them, they'll have 2 ranks. Which I suppose the opponent. Anyway, they should be up on like sort of static combat res by at least 5 or 6 points before you even start really. With the battle standard bearer, because banner, BSB, war banner, 3 ranks, close order. You've got 7 V combat res before anybody's done anything. So that's pretty good. Yeah, so that's the Royal Herald. Then I've got a Necrotect with the Amulet of the Serpent. Amulet of the Serpent basically means the unit that it's in does poisoned attacks. The Necrotect has an ability, which is a leadership-based ability, which means it and the units it's in gets hatred everybody and +1 attack. So it's basically frenzy for undead and hatred. So you get to reroll those hits. So if you're up against something that's higher toughness, you can reroll all of those hits, trying to spike for 6s because you've got the Amulet of the Serpent. So that's why that's in there with the Amulet of the Serpent, really, just so that there's a chance that they could actually do some damage to stuff, because they're only weapon skill 2, strength 3. So I thought rather than go down the route of spending loads and loads of points on banners and stuff to get their weapon skill up to 4, they're still only going to be strength 3, and they're still going to be poor initiative. So I thought, well, let's lean into this poison, give them more attacks, give them an ability to reroll those attacks, and then hopefully that should have a little bit of output. Not a lot, but a little bit. It's not really its job, but I've also given it Nearkar and Phalanx, which means the first time it loses a combat, rather than giving ground 2 inches, it can choose to just sort of stay there and lock the opponent in combat. Now, I don't think I'm going to be using that very often, if at all. because if somebody charges that big unit and beats it by a bit, I'm going to want to pull back. Although actually, now I say that, I might not want to, because you might not want to give them, because if they're following up, that's a move, isn't it? So if they're drilled, for instance, that would give them the opportunity to redress their ranks or sort that out for next round. So yeah, maybe. That's situational. I've got 3 units of 5 skeleton horse archers. They're just essentially to kind of, go around and be a bit of a pain. Take out, skirmishing units that are outside of the general's inspiring presence. Getting hit with essentially if you've got, because they're the unit strength 2 each, right? So if you've got a unit of like 6 Empire archers, for instance, or whatever, they they have to take a fear test when they want to charge or in combat, or else they're hitting with -1 in combat. So the 5 skeleton horse archers have got a reasonably decent chance of taking out some skirmishers. Plus, also they've got war bows, so they can start to do a bit of damage with that. Then I've got rather than blocks of skeleton archers, I'm going for skeleton skirmishers. So I've got 2 units of 7 and 1 of 5, because that's just how the points work out. Again, these are just to kind of gum up the table and just get in the way and just hopefully give me a few more rounds of shooting. So I've got a few. So the damage really comes from Ushabti. So I've got 6 of them with great bows, which is just a fantastic unit. I have tried it in 2 units of 3, just doesn't work very well. I think Ushabti is kind of like this big line of super heavy archers. They're strength 6, they're AP 2, I think. I need to remember that for the weekend. It will come up a lot. Strength 6, AP 1, so Armour Bane 2, and multiple wounds 2, and they've got volley fire, but you're never going to use that. But anyway, the point is strength 6 shots with AP 1 and Armour Bane 2 is pretty decent. And, they do actually have hand weapons as well. They've got 3 attacks, strength 4, toughness 4, heavy armour. They've got regen 6. They've got Kopesh, which means their hand weapons are AP 1. So they're not terrible in combat, and they've got and of course, like all undead, they've all got the arrows of Asaph, which is essentially you have no modifiers to your ballistic skill when shooting. So even if they move long range, whatever, they're still hitting on 4s. So they're pretty accurate. So you should be getting like 3 hits a turn with those. Strength 6, double damage. Damage 2. They could quite conceivably. They're good against cavalry, obviously, and they're super good against like monstrous infantry, like ogres and stuff like that. They're good against just standalone monsters, but because of the low AP, they're not very good against stuff like high elf dragon princes with like a 2-up, or like a Bretonian duke with like a 2-up re-rolling wands, etc., etc. So they have their strengths and they have the units they want to be used against. The Tomb Scorpions are really there to deal with any like super heavy stuff, like a high elf prince, for instance, because unless he's got like the white sword, for instance, the high elf prince is actually going to struggle to kill one in one round of combat. So that's important, because if I manage to get like a decent flank charge with ideally both of them into like a high elf prince that I've got locked in with my dragon, then I've got 8 attacks, hitting on 4s, probably, maybe 5s, and then I just need a single 6 to wound, because they do have Killing Blow and Monster Slayer. So they're great utility pieces for 75 points. They've got Swift Stride as well, and they've got this Ambusher rule. So this is another bit of utility that the High Priest provides again on a leadership test, which is why you need him near a BSB, so you can re-roll it if you fail. On a leadership test, he can pop up one of those near him, rather than it coming on, having to roll for it and it coming on at like a table edge or whatever. So essentially I can get my skirmishers to form these screens, get out in front and just be a bit of a nuisance, pop up the Tomb Scorpions in a reasonably sensible place, draw people into this big block of spears and make them have to deal with it, either by moving it forwards or terrain or whatever, and essentially having the dragon fly around. Hopefully I can just put this big block of spears in front of like a hill, upon which can go my Screaming Skull catapults, only one of which has the skulls of the foe. Personally, I don't think effects should stack in Warhammer, the old world. So I know I could have taken 2. It's only another 20 points. And, you know, I could have... Well, in fact, no, I couldn't. That was my problem. I think I've done this on purpose. I do believe that things shouldn't stack. But, like, everything else is, like... It's such a difficult list to write, really, because, like... I just haven't got any spare points, basically. I've got 8 points spare, right? But, like... The Royal Herald I've given a flare. The Necrotect I've given a whip, so he's got always strikes first. So, for instance, the reason I've given him a whip is like if somebody charges in and it's like a normal unit of Empire Knights. I mean, they'd be mad to do that, but there might be a tactical reason why the opponent might be doing that. I can put forward the Necrotect into the challenge with his whip, and you know he can strike first, and he's got a reasonable chance, especially with poison and hatred, of actually killing that sort of base level champion, outright. And then also when you do your resurrections on the unit, you then you heal the characters that are in the unit first. So if the Necrotect and the Royal Herald take a wound, next turn High Priest casts Arise, and they both get their wound back. So you know that's pretty good. So that's my list. To be honest, I don't think it's a very good list. I built it with like Khalida in mind. So I wanted as much like poison and that kind of attack as possible. And sadly, there's just not that much available with Tomb Kings, which is a bit disappointing, really. I did consider putting the High Priest on the dragon and then having Khalida on foot, but I just don't think that works very well, because the dragon loses the survivability of the Armour of Ages, because the Armour of the Ages is just so good. It's just absolutely outstandingly good, and I don't know why they've not... It's only 50 points. Enemy models must reroll successful to wound rolls made against the wearer, and it just enemy models, right? So that even means shooting. So you know you've got your lucky bow shot that gets like a 6 to wound. Well, no, it doesn't. It has to re-roll that. Like, it's just so good. It's just so good. But it also means that against we are using her, like, she doesn't have heavy armor now. It's a suit of light armor. So, you know, I either choose to use essentially a 6-up save and then a region, but you have to reroll ward saves, or I use the 4-up save of the dragon. I can't do both, which is a bit annoying. I guess that's why there is okay. So there is a decent trade-off there. Okay, fine. I wish I could give her the serpent staff because it's absolutely perfect, but this is leash priests only, which is ridiculous. But anyway. And the only reason they've got that is because they can get bloody illusion. Magic lore wise, I've gone for, which is what I was checking this morning. I've ticked elementalism here. I actually mean necromancy. That's my list basically. So who are we up against? I don't think... Sometimes they draw the rounds. Sometimes TOs draw the rounds really early, so you can have a look at lists, but... there's a lot to have a look through. Excuse me. Oh my god, my neck hurts so much. I was playing rugby on Wednesday. We lost, annoyingly, but it was only a friendly though, so lots to learn. Anyway, Michael Appleton comes up a bit. on the old player rating. So he's got 2 Bray Shamans. One of them's got a Hag Tree Fetish. They're both in Chariots. This is very strong. That's going to be difficult to deal with. He's got a Gore Bull with the Black and Plate, Enchanted Shield, Gnarled Hide. So that's going to be difficult to deal with. He's got a BSB Wargore. They're presumably going in this Gore Herd unit. So he's got his big block of nastiness. And then he's got a load of Dragon Ogres. Now, you know, again, I'd absolutely love to play against this. Because Ushabti would, should take down 1 or 2 Dragon Ogres a turn, realistically. Probably 1 a turn, to be honest. And then a bit of chip damage from all the other bows, maybe. I don't know. We shall see. Although, actually, maybe Tuskor Chariots would be better. Or Razor Gourd Herds would be better targets. Yeah. For shooting. There's a lot of decent targets for the Ushabti to have a crack at there. So, and I guess it would be just a case of using my skirmishers just to... The problem with Undead is they can't retreat, so I can't really use the skirmishers like everybody else uses them. Like it's going to be a block of skirmishers that can't retreat and that will probably crumble. But there's no frenzy in here. But I could draw them in. I could like make them get frenzied and then essentially lead the Gore Bull around the table with skirmish units all game. But I wish I could flee with Undead, but I can't. Who else do we want to look at? Paul Coram. I like Paul. He's a nice chap. He has dwarves. He's got a king. I think this is similar to the list he took against me last time. Or, sorry, when I met him last time. He's leaned a bit more into Iron Drakes, which is sensible. I'm not sure about the Grudge Thrower. I still don't think it's great value, but, you know, whatever. What do I know? Ironbreakers, Hesitation, Confusion in Hammerers. Makes sense. It's got some Dwarf Warriors with the Rune of Battle, which is basically a +1 combat res. Then some Thunderers, Engineer. No other new runes, but yeah, looks like a decent-ish dwarf list. Yeah, I don't want to go through everybody because that would be... Let's have a look at the Orc and Goblin one. Let's have a look at the Vampire Count one. Am I the only person with... Oh, no, I'm not the only one. Let's see what the other Tomb King lists look like. And is it Rory? There's an Empire list as well. Gav Watson. And there's a couple of Lizardmen, so let's have a quick look at those. Oh, and there's some High Elves there. And... Chorfs. Right. So, excuse me again. So James is bringing Bretonnians. He's got a pretty standard... Well, he's not actually. He's got Gauntlet of the Jewel in there, which is interesting. So that means you can't refuse challenges against him. He's got the Virtue... I mean, I'd love that to charge into my unit of skeletons because it would lose every single round of combat. So, I mean, I'm up 7 already. The best he can do is getting 6 towards combat res with wounds and overkill and everything, and then he just kills a champion that just gets resurrected next turn. You know, and then he's got 1 for close order, I guess, hasn't he? So the best he can do is lose by 1 to the musician. And then he's, you know, heavily outnumbered by fear-causing enemies, which he's got the Duke's got the Grail Vow, so I think he's already got immune psychology, hasn't he? So he's not that bothered about fear, but he's definitely outnumbered. So you know, that could be bad. Then we've got a Prophetess, who's level 4. Nothing amazingly special. Sword of the Stout-Hearted is probably a good sword because he's got illusion, so he's hoping to get the Spectral Doppelganger off. The cool thing about Prophetesses and so on and so forth is that they can actually cast assailment spells without being in the fighting rank, which is brilliant. Then you got the Paladin with the Falkenhorn of Fledermund. That will be. I think. Is it a problem for me? It's sort of a problem. Where's the what move has the dragon got? Is it 6? So the dragon can move 6, but then it can't march because it can't fly. Huh. And there is a spell in Necromancy that gives you like fly 10 or something to a character, which is one I'm hoping to cast on the High Priest quite a lot to give him a bit of extra oomph. And then also the Law of Nehekara includes this one, which I'll probably take. Xar's Incantation of the Desert Wind. Every friendly unit that has the Nehekara undead within caster's command range gains a reserve move spell. So every unit within 8 inches. So if I deploy the Tomb King close to the High Priest and I get that spell off turn 1, then that means I can punt my my dragon. Well, it gets reserve move, so I can go 36 inches in my first turn, which is pretty good. Oh, something's really tickling my throat. So I might have to call this one early. Anyway, so I've got some Knights of the Realm, Bowmen, Men-at-Arms, Peg Knights, Grail Knights. These are all pretty straightforward standard stuff. Typically you see the Falkenhorn in the Grail Knights. I think that's possibly something he may have missed. And the reason you see that is because all the Grail Knights can accept and decline challenges. So literally you keep the Falkenhorn until the last one dies, because the last one to die will probably be the champion. Paladin, a single Paladin is easier to kill than 6 Grail Knights. So that's why you tend to see the Falkenhorn on them. But anyway, that's all very good. Why waste my time? Graham Nichols as a Goblin Big Boss. Because he's got a unit of goblins somewhere. No? Why has he got a big boss? Battlestone Bearer, Charmed Shield. Presumably that's going to float around behind stuff. This is a Troll Horde, so we've got a Hag. Ugh. We've got a Weird Knob. He's taking Troll Magic. We've got an Old Knob, which is level 4. And then we've got a Big Boss. Who's the General then? Troll Hag, okay. Then we've got a River Troll Mob, Stone Troll Mob. Oh, yeah. A decent amount of shooting from Rishabti could absolutely devastate one of those units. Then we've got an Orc Mob, some Spider Riders, who are... They're okay. They've got move through cover, which is quite useful. They're pretty decent light cav, but they're not the best. And then he's got some Boar Boys with Big Uns, Frenzy, Warpaint. What? He's got the Spider Banner, so he's got poison attacks with him as well. That's interesting. Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? Because why pay for the strength upgrade when... Okay, well, yeah, I'm sure that'll be interesting to see how that goes on. Jeff O'Hara is the other... this is the Vampire Count. So he's gone from Master Necromancer on an Abyssal Terror. That's unusual. You don't see that very often. Then he's gone for a Necromantic Acolyte with the Scepter of Denoiro, which is the Resurrect stuff. So you can do it twice. You typically see it on a level 4, because obviously, that doubles your healing output from 4 to 8. And he's on foot as well, the Acolyte. So he's got 3 Terrorgeists and 3 Vargeists. Vargeists are pretty good. They're pretty scary. Everything else, I think I can deal with. The Graveguard, I'm really surprised he's not got Banner of extra regen save. Can't remember what that's called. Yeah, I'm really surprised. AJ Barr, Tomb Kings. So this is the other Tomb King. He's got the Earthing Rod and Necromancy. He's got a Tomb King with exactly the same loadout as me. Then he's got 35 skeletons. So he's gone for an extra few skeletons rather than the War Banner. And then some archers, horse archers, 3 chariots. Yeah, I guess I probably should have assembled and taken my chariots than all the skirmishers. I've got too much skirmishers, really. That's the long and the short of it. I think this list is a bit more... Oh, he's only got 4 Ushabti with bows. He's got Necropolis Knights. I don't think they're very good. But people keep taking them, and they're very expensive, so I suppose they must be. I must be wrong. Team Scorpion, I think, is... And he's got a casket and a Necrosphinx. So he's gone very... it's a very balanced list, this one. This list is better than mine. So I'd be surprised if AJ doesn't finish above me, to be honest. I'm thinking mid-table for myself. That would be nice. Rory Arthur with Bretonia. He's got Lady Elise Ducard. Good man. She's great. And then we've got a Duke with a Hippogriff and an Ogre Blade and a Virtual Knightly Temper. So that's plus D3 attacks, Hatred, and Ogre Blade is... That's the big one, isn't it? So it's basically a strength... What would he get him up to? Get him up to like strength 7 probably. AP 2. Multiple wounds. Very, 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 very nasty. Very nasty. That's going to tear through some stuff. Again, though, I'd love it to charge my big unit of Skellies because he can't do a lot. Like, I can just limit him every turn. And then we've got the Paladin. Yeah, because basically what the skeletons are hoping is that a big monster with a character on charges into them, and then they go, ho, challenge him out forever. And then basically I just hit him with a flank attack with a small unit of skirmishers or something. Doesn't really matter. And then he's flanked and losing every combat by like at least 1, if not 2 or 3, and he's outnumbered. So if he flees, it's not a fallback in good order. It's a, off you pop. So that's my plan anyway. So we've got some men at arms. They're trash. He's got the Grail Monk though, so he's going for the whole stubborn thing to hold people in place, and then the Knights of the Realm. He's got small units of Knights of the Realm. 6 Knights of the Realm aren't amazingly effective, but they do fill up the table, to be honest. And he's got some Pegasus Knights, so that's an interesting list. I don't think if Rory does well, he's done very well, because this isn't an optimal list. This isn't an optimal Bretonian list, to be honest. It's pretty good, but there's some elements that there's not enough Pegasus Knights. There's not a unit. There should be a unit of Grail Knights really as well, and there's no Falconhorn of Fredemund, which I think is an auto include for Britannia. So that's that. We've got Gavin with Empire. We go straight to the bottom, and he hasn't got a ton of artillery. So my prediction is he won't do amazingly well. Let's have a look. He's got some Demigriffs, so they're good. Yeah, these are all okay. They're not very big units, though. Where's he spent all his points? Is this great swords cannon? This doesn't feel like a 2,000 point list. Flagellants are very expensive, aren't they? I don't think they're very good at all. But anyway, he's got a Wizard Lord with level 3, an Illusion, and Pegasus, Armour of Tarnus, Dragon Slaying Sword. Okay, Potion of Speed. Okay. So he's got this little bullet that he wants to charge into, like a dragon, for instance. So my lord would have to be careful of him, because 2d6 hits. So 2d6 hits. You need to roll 1/6. That's pretty likely. Which I guess is probably why it's only level 3, because it's got one job, and that's to charge a big monster and kill it with a dragon slaying sword. So okay, I like that. That's good. Got a Witch Hunter for reasons. We've got a Captain. Yeah, we've got a Lector on a War Altar. This is a really interesting list. I want to see how well this does. I have no idea what this is actually going to do, actually, now I'm looking at it, because he's got some really interesting characters. He's got some small units, which is weird. So either he doesn't know what he's doing, or he really knows what he's doing. It's one of the two. Do you know what I mean? When somebody has like a really weird list, and you look at it and think, is that... I don't get how that works. Has he got something I missed? So yeah, that's Gavin. Chris Christopher Sterling with his lizard men. Then we've got Old Blood, Scarvets ×2, one with a Carnosaur, 2 Carnosaurs. Carnosaurs are nasty. I'd be worried about Carnosaurs doing some damage to my dragon, to be honest, especially 2 of them. I bet they go together, actually, like 2 on a flank. We've got some Scarvet, another Scarvet with a cold one. I'm surprised, has he actually got any cold one? He has, okay, so the cold one will probably go in there, won't it? Because if you're going to do like a standalone Scarvet on a cold one, you give it like an old one, so it's not stupid and it gets +1 move. Then we've got a Skink Priest, which is level 2, so not a tremendous amount of magic. That's on foot. Got some skirmishers, got quite a lot of skirmishers. That's a lot of poisoned attacks there. He's got a decent sized unit of warriors, and then we've got an ancient Stegodon with a giant bow. That's probably quite sensible. I typically put my priest on that, but maybe leaving it off is better, because you can use the Stegodon as a Stegodon then. Cool. And then we've got Callum Edens with Lisbon as well, who's gone for Slant with Higher State of Mind, which I think you always have to take. Makes it ethereal. The problem is the Slant is a large target, so it can be shot at from anywhere, so anybody can target it. And it's a big chunk of points, especially if it's General and Battle Standard Bearer. So that's actually going to be essentially 500 victory points, more or less. So, you know, all your shooting, if you've got magical attacks, you know, a decent magic missile will probably take it out as well, which is a bit of a shame. But, yeah. Then we've got an Old Blood on a Carnosaur, because they're great. Scarvet on a Carnosaur, because they're great. Saurus Warriors. We've got some Temple Guard, which will go near the Slan, because they've got the ability to take wounds that the Slan should have taken. So that should probably keep it alive. We've got some Skink Skirmishers, some Croxagores, which I think are pretty cool, and an Ancient Stegodon again. And this one has an Engine of the Gods. Just one Engine of the Gods is probably not worth it. You probably need 2, because it gives you extra casting and stuff, and then you get the full effects of them. But, you know, it's a pretty good list. You know, we'll see how well it does. Then I want to have a look at this High Elf list, which is a Prince on a Dragon with the typical stuff, a level 4 Wizard, with again typical level 4 wizardy sort of stuff on foot though, which is interesting. I presume there's some sword masters for the there they are, for the Archmage to go in. We've got some Phoenix Guards, some Dragon Princes, a lot in special and a lot in characters. We've got some Lathern Sea Guard because they're great, some archers to fill out some points probably, and some Illyrian Reavers to just be a pain in the arse. So I'd actually quite like to face off against this list. This looks quite interesting, and you know, I think it'd be a good match for the both of us. Yeah, I quite like that one. Then we've got Chorf's Saruman the Small. Surely Saruman the Stout would. Anyway, Bale Taurus, obviously. Mantle of Stone, which makes it toughness 7. Yeah. Armor of Meteoric Iron. Ooh. Armor of Meteoric Iron. Has he cocked up there? He might have made a armor of. Yeah, he's cocked up there. He's turned off its magic if he keeps the armor. He obviously means it to be a level 4 because he's put level 4. Now, I bet he's got confused with this. A wizard with this special rule may wear armour without penalty. Oh, actually... actually, maybe not. Maybe... Oh, there's so much... They're allowed to wear any armour without penalty. They're even better than, like... Chaos Sorcerers, because like Chaos Sorcerer Lords, right, they have this Chaos Armor In addition, a wizard with a special rule may wear armour without penalty. Oh, no, that's the same. So a sorcerer lord could take any magical armour because they've got chaos armour. That feels wrong somehow. I'll have to check. Hold on a minute. I will. While I'm here, I'll check because I'm sure there was something in the errata about that, wasn't there? Was it in the rule book? I can't find it now. If a wizard miscasts blah 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 blah, that's not a question. Yeah, wizard joined by wizard declines the wizards engaged in the challenge using assailment. Wizard, wizarding hat. Wizard transmogrification. I could have sworn there was something about wizards wearing armor in one of these FAQs. I'll have to interrogate it a bit more. I wonder if it was in the previous. Have they taken it out? Hold on a sec. I'll just quickly check. And no, challenges, psychology. These are all the same. Magic items. Blah blah blah. That's all the same. So, if they put it in the evil guys errata, there are no references to wizards in this thing. Yeah, I think. Well, I could have sworn there was something in some kind of FAQ that said wizards can't wear armor at all ever. Full stop. Apart, yeah, I don't know actually. Yeah, I've obviously misremembered something then, or I haven't saved all the erratas, or I've archived one that I didn't mean to, or something. Anyway, so he's to conclude this interlude. Saruman the Small is probably not cocked up. He probably is allowed the armour of meteoric iron, which means he's got a 5-up armour save that cannot be modified. He's then got the Talisman of Protection as well, so he's got a 5-up armour save, a 5, which is basically functions like a ward, a 5-up actual ward, and then it's toughness 7. So that's pretty tough. It's going to take a bit of killing. But that said, it hasn't got that good an armour anyway, because the Bale Taurus is like toughness. Bale Taurus has probably has a 4-up save anyway, so he can use the 4-up against AP nothing things, but he can use the 5-up. So it's like a 5-up invulnerable save from 40k. Then we've got the Infernal Seneschal with the Lamasu's Beard, which is all right. We've got a War Boss, Black Orc War Boss on a chariot, which is pretty cool. Then we've got a Black Orc Mob, of course, because you have to, because you've got a Black Orc boss. And then we've got some Infernal Guard, which are armed with great weapons, which is interesting. Then we've got a Death Shrieker and an Iron Demon. So, yeah, that sorcerer is very good. The rest of it, I'm not so. That will do a lot of damage, but will die eventually. These all armed with great weapons, so they're gonna really take something out. Yeah, I'm not really that scared by that list actually. It looks all right. I quite like to play it. Now, was there only one vampire count player? Yeah. Do you know what? It's really difficult to look through all these lists and think any of these are like. I mean, I guess it'll be like one of the. I guess it'll be like one of the Britannia lists that'll do it. Like just looking at these lists, like there's some really good lists here. So mine isn't really good. It's mine's okay. Um, like I said, I probably should have painted up my chariots really and got them in. I've got too many skirmishers. Got too many stuff that's going to get in the way, but not enough stuff that's going to deliver any like actual damage or have any like tangible impact. So yeah, whatever. So this is the Dark Elf list. Pendant of Caleth. Yeah. Oh, just on foot. And a cold one. And oh no, Master on a cold one chariot. That's interesting. Which is a BSB on a cold one chariot. Oh, okay. Blackheart Corsairs are okay. I think they're okay. There's a debate going on about whether they're alright or not. Charybdis, I think, are brilliant. So that if I come up against that, that'll be the first thing that everything targets because it's strength 7 and does so much damage. So that'll be target priority 1. These will be target priority 2, and everything else I don't really mind. They can do what they like. I can just resurrect whatever they can do. But these and that, I'm really surprised. These because sorry, the reason why the cold ones are like priority 2 is because they'll probably have the Dreadlord in. So you know, kill that, kill the Charybdis, kill them, and then everything else is easy relatively. In fact, the rest of it I can. Oh, he's got a sorceress on a dark Pegasus. Ooh, exciting! That's like one magic missile away from dying, basically. So I'm not massively fussed about that. In fact, she's on a dark Pegasus, so I think, which is a monstrous cavalry. So there's nothing that she can hide behind. She can go in a unit, so you could put her in the unit of Dark Riders. But like, you know, they're relatively easy to panic. So yeah, I think I think well, overconfidence, but I think I should walk that one if that comes up. Unless obviously he's very good and he knows exactly what he's doing and he's got a reason for everything. James Wardell. I think we already looked at this, but this is this list is. Again, Paladin, he's the one with the Paladin and the Grail Knights. Now, yeah, but I mean, other than that, this is a really strong list. It's going to do well, I predict, because you've got like your Pegasus. Pegasus Knights are so hard to kill because basically, unless you kill all of them, you don't get any points for them. So if you kill 2, the other one just goes and hides for the rest of the battle, and then you can't get those 172 points. Do you know what I mean? So they're so useful. Even like. I think probably 4 is optimal because then you can't get them down to below 25% unless you kill them. So it gives you like... So I think 3 units of 4 is probably optimal, so you never get the points for them. Just never get the points for them. And the unit of 4 is like 200 odd points. So like, you know, it's just brilliant really. If you had 3 units of 4, that's essentially about 650 points that your opponent can't score. Unless they do a ton of damage in one turn to that unit. So yeah, this list I like because the Bombard I think is the best cannon in the game because it's pointed as a normal cannon, but it's actually a great cannon with a slightly reduced range. So it does all the damage of a great cannon, i.e. D3 plus 1 instead of D3, but has a reduced range and a reduced move as well. But you know, it's very, very good. Again, he's got the Pegasus Knights, which are great. He's got the Exile's Vow in them as well. Exile's Vow is really good. Then we've got the only thing, because these are Exiles, they don't start with a Blessing. So these need to stay hidden to begin with, especially against me, because, you know, if I get a new Shabti with a pretty decent round of shooting against one of these units of Peg Knights, you know, I could kill... probably 2 or 3. If I spike and have a really good round of shooting, I'll probably kill 1. But if I get really lucky and they get really unlucky, that'll kill, like, maybe outside chance can kill the whole unit, but easily can kill 2 and basically take the unit out of the game. So that's like turn 1 shooting. That's like turn 2 shooting. And then realistically, there's not a lot because this will be in one of the units of Pegasus. So he's going to have to consider: do I throw my one remaining Pegasus with the hero into combat to get something out of them, or do I spend another turn of splitting it and hoping that he's also got the Green Knight as well? I missed that. The Green Knight. That's a horrible challenge. Yeah, that's going to be nasty. I don't want to face this. I don't want to play Jack, to be honest, because I don't want to face the Green Knight. That's going to be an absolute nightmare for me. Because it'll just go around and kill all my little things, and then I have a lot of little things, and that's what it's perfect at. So yeah, he can get a lot of points against me with that. Anyway, did I look at that? Was Michael Appleton? I think we looked at. We didn't look at Mark's Beastman list. Doom Bull, Bray Shaman, Chariot. It's not got some Warhounds are okay. They're better than people think. And then he's got a Gorgon. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it, how two people can have the same faction and take similar approaches, but one of them just seems like Michael. He's got 2 level 4 wizards on chariots. He's got the Gorbot, so he's got the big block of horrible infantry. He's got tons of counterpunch stuff here, and then he's got a ton of damage coming in here. And the Harpies are fantastic. So he's got a really good list that looks slightly overwhelming. Whereas this actually has more in it, but feels far less overwhelming. Because he's only got 4 Dragon Ogres. He's got a Gorgon. So he's taken so essentially Michael has sacrificed a big monster. Gorgon costs 245 points. So that's basically the same as these other 4 Dragon Ogres, so he's gone for more Dragon Ogres instead of one big monster, which I think is super smart actually. Like point for point, Dragon Ogres are probably one of the best things in. Razorgore herds are fantastic. Tuskor chariots I think are slightly better than Razorgore chariots because of the points difference. So you can get, for essentially for the cost of 2 Razorgores, you can have 3 Tuskors, which I think is a bit more optimal. But he does have his Bray Shaman on a Tuskor chariot, which is sensible. Gives it a bit more survivability. Yeah, I mean, these are both... I don't want to play Beastman, to be honest. Oh, no, I do. I want to play everybody. But Ogres. There's an Ogre list as well. Let's have a look at Ogres. So we've got a Bruiser, Butcher, level 2, Tyrant. On a Stonehorn. Oh, yeah, let me play this list. Noblar Trappers, they're not a problem. Iron Guts can be a problem. Ogre Bulls, 3 small units. I don't think that'll be a problem. What else has he got? Ooh, he's got 2 cannons. Ooh, which can move and shoot as cannons. They're great. They're absolutely fantastic. I love them. However, they do misfire, but then they're still just basically heavy chariots, which is still a problem to deal with. Then he's only got 3 Mournfang Cav, which is, I mean, Mournfang Cav are like one of the best units in the game, hands down. They're absolutely fantastic. Yeah. But only 3. So they're not that great against shooting because they've only got heavy armor. I think the maximum you can get them up to is... What's he got? He's got Iron Fists. So he's probably got a 3-up save with them because you've got heavy armor, Iron Fists, and I think the Mournfang itself has like an Armoured Hide 1 or something. So he's got that up to a 3-up save. But again, like a decent round of shooting from my Shabti. That's one of these. I should be able to kill 1 a turn. So he's going to have to get them into combat before. So they're essentially priority 1 shooting wise. So both the catapults and all the Shabti go into those guys. And then, yeah. Yeah, cool. Sorry, I was just thinking about how I'd negate the impact hits, but you get impact hits as long as you charge 3 inches. So that's why I've got the skeleton horse things, because if I get reserve move, that means I can move 8 inches, take a shot, and then move again and put them within an inch just to take out impact hits effectively. So then he has to charge me in his turn, and then obviously all the unit skeleton cav die, and then their unit probably overruns, but then I get another round of shooting in my turn. So he doesn't really get to choose what to do with them. They're kind of there, and then they can advance basically 3d6 inches. After getting some points out of me, but, you know, still. Gives me another round of shooting, which is kind of the point. Right, cool. So I think I'm going to end the video there. I'm really looking forward to this. It's only one day, so it's about 2 and a bit hours away. So I am tempted to stop over tomorrow night. I might have to find somewhere to stay, but then again, I've got some hobbying to do. I'm currently waiting for this base to dry, because like the priest that you get in the Necrolith Dragon set, you can't put on foot. Well, it's not naturally on foot. So what I've done is I've like moulded a bit of a base like that to make it look like he's kind of walking over the crest of a wave. Crest of a sort of a sandy dune is what dunes are called, isn't it? So yeah, I'm just waiting for my sand dune to dry basically. But yes, then I shall paint that dude up and. No, I've put the basing on. I'm going to have to paint him. I'll have to drill a hole in his foot and put him on a stick. Anyway, you don't want to hear about that. So yeah, and actually it doesn't need to be painted, does it? So I'm less stressed now about getting all these Skeleton Warriors based. Cool. And I've got physio later because I'm broken from rugby. My right shoulder. I was playing second row, which means you're in the scrum, which means you got to do a lot of shoving, and their scrum was. Pretty good actually. It was pretty heavy, but we won most scrums. But yeah, it's good. It's a good game. So I hopefully have 3 games. I'd love to play Paul again because I love playing against Paul. He's a lovely competitor. Good chap. I don't actually think I know anybody. Apologies if I do, and you've been talking to me on the channel and I have just forgotten. Some of these names feel very familiar, but then so does everybody's in Warhammer because I've written your name over and over again quite a few times in a spreadsheet. So yeah, it'd be really interesting if anybody else is coming to this thing tomorrow. Please hit me up, and yeah, we'll have a chat. But anyway, that's it for the video. I think if you've liked the video, there's a button for that, and if you've got this far, you probably should subscribe. I should have thought, and yeah, I'll hopefully have a nice little tournament recap breakdown thing, hopefully on Sunday for you, or probably Monday or Tuesday now actually, because Sunday I've got to do some family stuff. But anyway, bye, toodaloo, auf Wiedersehen. Good luck if you're fighting some Warhammers this weekend.